This is the second video for the Function I section of the Functions module and the very last video for the Functions module. In this video we're continuing to look at inverse functions, and we're going to look at the graphs of inverse functions. Now the graph of an inverse function is the graph of the original function reflected across the line y equals x. And I have some examples for you to see here. F of x equals x over 2. Now previously we found that the inverse of that was 2x. Now the red line here is the line y equals x. Here is the original function in green, f of x equals x over 2, and the inverse function f of negative x equals 2x. And you can see that that line, the green line, is reflected in the y-axis. Sorry, the y equals x axis. Okay, original function h of x equals x squared minus 4. We found out that the inverse function was plus or minus the square root of x plus 4. So here's my y equals x line. My original function is this parabola, and it's reflected on the y equals x line to give the sideways parabola. Now remember, this was one of the examples for the inverse of a function is not always a function, and you can see that this sideways parabola is not a function. Vertical line test crosses more than once. Now if a function has domain restrictions, the inverse of the function has the same restrictions but on its range, because the values are being swapped, and vice versa. So if I have f of x equals the square root of x plus 2, the domain for that is x is greater or equal to negative 2, and the range is y is greater or equal to 0. And here's the graph here. So if I'm doing the inverse function of this, which is x squared minus 2, okay, so that's the inverse function. You can give that a go to check it. Now here's the function here. Now the range of the previous function, the domain of the previous function was x is greater or equal to negative 2. You'll notice that the range is y is greater or equal to negative 2. Okay, the range of the first function was y is greater or equal to 0. The domain of the inverse function is x is greater or equal to 0. So they simply swap over. So you have to remember that. What now? Complete exercise function I1 in your textbook. Then you would have finished your functions module, so you need to go and revise. Remember, there's a review chapter in the textbook, there's some exercises in the textbook, and please do the sample test before you do the module test.